Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to another game review. This time, something recommended by a friend of ours, Cold Iron. I do not hold you in any way, shape, or form responsible for the review I'm about to give, but I knew when I pulled it out of the mailbox, and the fact that it was in such a tiny package. The book is a digest size, about 85 pages, really thin. I was hoping for something meatier with more substance and less activism. Just going to say there's a crap ton of that in here. But I'm going to go over the basic. It's supposed to be a game in homage to the Venture Brothers, and I appreciate that. I really do. However, it was rushed, maybe even a bit of a cash grab. I don't know. It was put out by John Kennedy and Mike Myler of NerdBurger Games, and of course I did my due diligence and looked into them, and a lot of what I expected to find after having read a portion of this. This game is a love letter to one of the greatest cartoons of the modern era, and the nostalgia of the animated shows from decades ago, but it's also meant to make room for new characters, stories, and settings. Play as heroic or nefarious members of the coalition of super teams, become a secret agent working for the Federal Abnormal Bureau, FAB, lame, or join in independent super teams and be plagued by the interference of both. Came out in 2022. The mechanics, of which there are one, and that is, you've got 4 stats: charm, luck, physicality, and thinkery. Right off the bat, there's a whole lot of, half-assery going on right there. But I'll get into that later. You have 5 points to put into your stats. So one stat's going to be 2 and the rest are going to be 1. They can go up a point, I think, by spending like 3 or 5 experience points, and you get about that many per time you play. So you're going to grow, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, this would make for a halfway decent beer and pretzels game. It would be a great game to play if you didn't have anything and you were in an empty room and you didn't have any dice and you didn't have any other games or any other books. Actually, you need 2d10, I'm sorry. You had 2d10 and you were like in the car or something, which isn't actually a bad thing. You could easily, continue this game and go that route. To do anything, you're going to base it on, figure out which one of your 4 stats is the deciding factor. Roll 2d10 and add that stat to it. On a 6 or less, you fail. On a 7 to 12, it's a partial success, and each thing has, each like kind of activity has a basic, result for a partial success, and then a 13 or better is a success, which means more often than not you're going to fail. But every time you fail in a big way, you get to put a point in your fail check box, where when you get 5, you get to do something kind of cool and get a bonus on your next roll. It's kind of meh in my opinion. The powers, as in superpowers and abilities, there are some abilities, but not that you get depending on your profession, whether you're a secret agent, a hero, villain, or sidekick. Those are your 4 choices, and each one has some abilities. And the actual superpowers, what those are, you actually have to do all the work or go by a half-page sort of example chart, which is really not much to go by and not a lot of details. There's no equipment section. There's no basis on how much your basic things do in damage, how much they weigh, how much they cost, any of that. That's all just, left out of the book. The hit points is 10 plus either your physicality or thinkery, depending on which one is more appropriate for your character build. Uh, the art is, as they say, they don't like and don't do AI art. They really should have. Just saying. The only decent art is the cover. Everything else is pretty lackluster or absolutely awful, and in some cases quite terrible. This image is not too bad, but it almost looks like AI art, to be honest. But everything else in the way of art is just atrocious. It's a little woke. Not gonna lie. The rules, like I said, are overly simple. There's a lot of poor grammar. I'm not one to talk, but when I'm reading, I can tell when it's wrong. When I'm talking to you guys, my friends, I'm not really trying to impress anybody. This is how I talk to everybody. It's I can fit in if I need to in a situation where I'm dealing with professionals, but this isn't that. The example characters all kind of lame or overly feminine. The entire book is very gynocentric in leaning, and you guys know I'm not a huge fan of that. When the coolest characters, and there aren't any, are female, and the male characters are all kind of, lame or really really lame. I know there's something wrong here. There's actually not really a single drop of real testosterone, not one single kind of badass character, NPC, or example in the entire book, which there are plenty of those in the Venture Brothers, more than just Brock and Shore Leave and even Hank to an extent. Sergeant Hatred's kind of a badass. He's just getting old. Colonel Gentleman, it was a badass. Action Man was a badass. But there's none of that in here. The fact that there was an X card web address on page 4 should tell you just about everything my friends would want to know. However, I don't want you to go thinking that I did not find anything of value whatsoever in here. There were, besides the fact that it would make for a fun, beer and pretzels game when you don't have anything too serious that you want to do, and you don't want to be looking in books for things. It's very much more of a storytelling game and a character look at me game than anything else, than an actual. And the way it's run is very episodic, and scenes and things like that, which is fine. The organizations, some of those are actually rather clever. There is an organization for more or less babysitting and training of children of heroes and villains. There's also a organized senior center for villains and heroes who've, need some help, assisted living, that kind of thing. Both very funny and well put together in the idea that, hey, these are things that would exist in the Venture Brothers world at some point and would be just ripe for making jokes about. The other thing, the thing that I really do absolutely, I'm stealing this, I'm using it. Thanks, guys. Better luck next time on any of your other projects. But something I'm stealing is something they call flashback, which is because your characters in the game are kind of used to be's. Once upon a time they were cooler or better or whatnot, which I don't really think should always be the case. But you roll up your former self, and then you roll up your now self. And your former self you can flash back to, to their glory days, if that's, that kind of character. If you're running an older character who's, seen better adventures and times and now fallen on bad luck or poor health or something like that, you can use a flashback to go back and relive a scene from the past or something from the past and use it to gain insight into the present situation, where you can remember, oh yeah, I was here once in the past, back in the day, and I remember, one example was I left something here back in the day, kind of a Bill and Ted's thing. I wonder if it's still here and I could use it. Every once in a while I'd let that fly. But there's other ways, you were in the library or you met this person, and if you fail, which is more likely to be the case, it's just going to be another source of embarrassment. Everybody gets a good laugh at your expense, which is about the worst thing that's going to happen in this game, because even if your character dies, it's the Venture Brothers. You'll just make a clone of you and bring you back, or some such nonsense. But that's what I've got for you this morning. $25. Thank you, Drive-Thru, for letting me buy this and find out that I could do better if I gave it half a try. But it's not really what I'm looking to do when I talk about my Venture Brothers game. But we'll talk more about that maybe in 45 minutes, the second breakfast, the Wednesday edition. I hope to see you guys all there. Until then, have a great day. We love you guys, and as always, happy trails.